Hey guys, welcome to the layout. So, anybody that knows me before knows that I had a layout series before. So I decided to make strictly a sole layout YouTube account. So we're going to start over. So I'm going to go into some details about the layout, and then we'll kind of take a little tour of it. So we started the layout in 2009. The layout was actually built back in the 1980s, and we repurposed it to this now. It started as a 6x8 and then advanced to two shelf sections. I have no idea how long they are. I have no idea how many feet of main line there is, but that's the basic gist of it. We modeled the Canadian Pacific, Boston and Maine, and Lamoille Valley in the years 1980 to 1983. 1983 is when Guilford Rail System took over the Boston and Maine, Delaware and Hudson, and Maine Central Railway. Now, 1983, since the Boston and Maine had trackage rights over the Canadian Pacific, which is the line model, power changed obviously, so they're different railroads that kind of mix and mingle here. So I do add that in 1983 if the year is right. And again, I changed the years in the op sessions. The equipment stays the same except the locomotives change. That's about it. So this section here is Newport, Vermont. This is where our yard office is and our central dispatcher. This is our fuel track here, fuel and ready track on 1 and 2. Like I said, this is generally local. This is the big power. And this is our yard engine. We have a RIP maintenance away track here. That's for our cars in our sessions that need to get taken care of during the session. We can put them there. And then, like I said, we have visible staging here, which is the 1, 2, and 3 tracks. And then we have a caboose track as well here. So, move along down here. Go underneath our bridge here. And this is our north side of the yard. This is our south side of the yard. So the south side of the yard is all industries pretty much, and it also contains our overflow, drill, and siding track here. So because this is a closed circuited layout, I had to come up with a way to have a big train come up here that had no more room to run and be able to switch it. So what we do is we have a siding track that the big train will stop before this switch here. Our yard engine will run around it down to here, and the big train can pull past and then hook up to the rear. The power can break off, and then the yard crew can break the train down. So that's how we do it for right now, until a possible future expansion to actual staging, which will be right there, breaks off. So again, the basement is not finished because certain states and our fine government like this tax us for more finished areas. So we're working with foam tiles and stuff, and trying to make the place look nicer, but it still is a basement. And we are going to work on the backdrops this year. I did everything kind of backwards. Again, when I started the layout and stuff, I didn't really know too much about it, and now I got to a point where I would say I fairly know what I'm doing. So we're going to get the backdrop in and everything else this coming year. So once we go to past South Yard here, we go over this crossing by the Ethan Allen plant. This is Ethan Allen here. And then to the left is Poland Grain. Poland Grain is actually a fairly small industry in real life in Newport. I wanted to put Blue Seal Feeds in Richford, Vermont, but it's just too big of a complex, and I couldn't fit in the area. So what we decided to do was just make a little, draw the line of reality again, and made Poland Grain get more cars than they really would. So they get 3 to 4 cars a day, really. Realistically, it's 3 to 4 cars a week. And then Ethan Allen, another company that's humongous, scale it down a little bit. But they're a busy industry as well. So in an op session, these two guys are daily switches. We also have a propane company over here, which we'll spin around to in a second. And this is the rest of the layout. So we'll work our way down here in a second, guys. I'll show you kind of how it all breaks down in a second. And we'll discuss the power and everything else. So we come down around here. Once we get out of our yard limit, we go over this crossing, come down along this nice hillside, and then the lake. So we go over this bridge here. Now to the right is our CP industry, or Boston Maine industry. Generally, I believe it's the Boston Maine industry. Again, a shared asset line is kind of tough to tell between customers. Ethan Allen and Poland are definitely Canadian Pacific. This one's either CP or Boston Maine. But anyway, we go into here, which is our Canadian Pacific, our Suburban Propane. So they get about probably 2 cars in or so in an op session, maybe 1 taken out. It's not a busy industry, but it's an industry. So it gives some traffic for the railroad. you know, half of our train really is generated by the 3 industries in this railroad. And then the rest is the interchange traffic. So we have a signal here. We have to call our dispatcher on the box. And we have a mainline controlled switch. None of the switches on the layout right now are controlled by any throws. I would like to get this one automated, and the one I have over here for the Lamoille Valley Interchange one automated. I'll explain that in a second, though. All the trains we have are broken down by jobs. Jobs are all here on the clipboard. As you guys can see, we have 5 jobs. And again, 5 jobs turns into a lot more than that. But that's just generally the general makeup. So this, like the yard switchers and crews and stuff. This is our dispatcher board. So this is the whole system. This is what we cover. All the jobs here, and the track warrants here. So, to give you guys an idea, we do have 2 grade crossings controlled here as well. Generally, the St. Johnsbury switchers are the one dealing with these, and so is the Lamoille Valley guys. So this one controls the crossing up here. You can see, turned off, back on. And this one controls the crossing down in the backside over here. So that was just a simple solution instead of having to spend more money into putting a ton of sensors and stuff in. So that's what we decided to do. This is our St. Johnsbury station. Depending on the railroad, it's either St. Johnsbury or Morrisville. I'll explain more on Lamoille Valley in a second. So train gets in here. We do loop runs to simulate distance. So we got 6, 7 loops. But at least it's a fun jog for you as an engineer or crew guy. Once you get into St. Johnsbury, we have the St. Johnsbury yard and switcher crew. So the main power will get parked on the interchange track here. And then the switch crew, what has a locomotive there, will switch out your trains. So we have a big train to the right gets parked in the main line, broken down, put in the yard. A new one gets put in the main line, taken out. And then that big train will return itself this way. So again, we have Boston to Maine NCP power. This railroad right here, as you guys see in the layout, is a fictional railroad, the Allagash. If you guys know the Allagash, then you've seen it before. I was able to get it on eBay, so I like to use it sometimes. All my CP power in the layout right now is currently put away. It's just because I bought 3 of the Rapido RS-18s, and all of them have kind of crapped down on me, so we had to send them back and stuff. So for right now, we're just kind of having some fictional runtime with the Boston Maine stuff. But anyway, that explains kind of the CP side of it. And then we'll go over to Lamoille Valley. It's the roundhouse in Morrisville. So in order to incorporate this whole layout, and how we did it was this inside trackage is the interchange track between CP and Lamoille Valley, and then this is all Lamoille Valley. So CP stuff never goes over this, never goes, really past that crossing. That's not a CP railroad after that. So trains can get detoured that way, if they got it, whatever, but nothing really goes over that way. It's all Lamoille Valley, and that's a 2-train operation there as well. A big train every day, and it's one that goes out, one that comes in. So that's how it gets broken down, and they serve industries such as Morrisville Lumber, which gets 3 boxcars in daily, again fictional. Morrisville Agway, which gets in 1-2 cars a day. Swanton Gravel, and their sand. So that's how it's broken down. This is all somewhat of St. Johnsbury, and then we mix it into Hardwick, Danville, stuff like that over here. So that's pretty much the gist of the layout. And then freight cars, right now I currently have 65 freight cars on the railroad, and probably about 10 to 15 locomotives at any given time. We do have night operations, so I can show you guys for 1 second the lights and all the layout. So when we do night stuff, that all becomes quite playable. And that's pretty much it for the layout. But I wanted to do just a simple tour, explain the railroad, what it is, and what we model. I'm going to be putting more videos up, hopefully this week, of some good run-bys and stuff. And then once I get the Rapido engines back, we'll definitely do another update, and I'll show you guys what it looks like with the Canadian Pacific stuff attached with the Boston Maine, and how I really model things. So there are definitely other people out there that model the same thing I do, but we try to keep it a little less realistic and have some fun with it. So any questions or anything, guys, leave them down below. And yeah, I'll try and shoot videos up of what I can do, and you guys can kind of see the layout a little more, and hopefully in a better format than what I had before, where I was kind of like running around everywhere. And I do apologize for the video. I'm shooting this on an iPhone, so it's the best I can do right now, but I want to get something out there to you guys. So anyway, anything you guys comment down below, whatever, I'll try and get back to you as quick as I can. But until then, I'll see you in the next update.